ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासां ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service, and text number 3. Yadyadvidatte Bhagavan Swachandatmatma-mayaya Tani me shraddhathanasya Kirtanyanu-kirtaya Yadadvidhate Bhagavan Swachandatma-mayaya Tani me shraddhathanasya Kirtanyanu-kirtaya Yadyadvidhatte Bhagavan Swachandatmatma-mayaya Tani te shraddhadhanasya Kirtanyanu-kirtaya Yat yat, whatever, Vidatte, he performs, Bhagavan, the personality of a Godhead, Swachanda Atma, full of self-desire, Atma Mayaya, by his internal potency, Tani, all of them, me, to me, Shraddhadhanasya, faithful, Kirtanyani, worthy of praise, Anukirtaya, please describe. Shaunaka Rishi said, therefore, please precisely describe all the activities and pastimes of the personality of a Godhead, who is full of self-desire and who assumes all these activities by his internal potency. Purport. The word Anukirtaya is very significant. Anukirtaya means to follow the descriptions, not to create a concocted mental description, but to follow. Shaunaka Rishi requested Sutta Goswami to describe what he had actually heard from his spiritual master. Shukadeva Goswami about the transcendental pastimes, the Lord manifested by his internal potency. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, has no material body, but he can assume any kind of a body by his supreme will, that is made possible by his internal energy. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणरघुनाथन्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च यद्यद्विधत्ते भगवान् स्वच्छन्द आत्मात्ममायया तानि मे श्रद्धानस्य कीर्तन्यानुकीर्तय। Therefore, please precisely describe all the activities and pastimes of the personality of a Godhead, who is full of self-desire and who assumes all these activities by his internal potency. So, as in the previous verse, Shaunaka Rishi has said that there is no one more than Lord himself. Like Lord is asama udva. Nobody is equal to or greater than him. And he is the most worshipable personality and more mature yogi. And he is the master of Vedas. And to hear about him is the real sense gratification. And that what satiates actually the senses. And that's why in this verse he is asking, please prescribably describe about the wonderful activities of the Lord. And the word here used as Swachanda. Swachanda Atma Maya. The Swachanda means actually totally independent. Swarat, like that. He does not have to take any permission from anyone to do something. He is fully independent to perform activities in this world. So please describe those activities that you have anukitaya, what you have heard from your spiritual master. No need to fabricate anything or no need to create something by your own mental speculation. Or nowadays there are some Babas actually claiming themselves as a Bhagavan and paying some professors or some writers to write about their own pastimes. And they are coming up with their own fantasies of pastimes that they have done. So it has become so cheap actually. But here we can see if something is authentic and authoritative, then it comes from a disciplic succession. It comes from the parampara. So here he is explaining about that. So we should understand that how one has to hear about the Lord. One should not concoct his own philosophy or his own understanding about the Lord's pastimes. He has to just repeat what he has to heard from his predecessor acharyas. So Srimad Bhagavatam makes firm our faith in the conclusions of scriptures because that's what needed. Otherwise, to render devotional service will be a very difficult task. In the next verse, where Sutta Goswami is explaining about the further conversation between Maitreya and Vidurji. Suta Uvacha DvaipayanasakastvevamMaitreyo Bhagavan Stataha Prahedam Viduram Prita Anvikshikyam Prachoditaha. Shrita Suta Goswami said, the most powerful sage, Maitreya, was a friend of Vyasadeva. Being encouraged and pleased by Vidura's inquiry about transcendental knowledge, Maitreya spoke as follows. Questions and answers are very satisfactorily dealt with when the inquirer is bona fide and the speaker is also authorized. Here, Maitreya is considered a powerful sage, and therefore he is also described as Bhagavan. This word can be used not only for the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, but for anyone who is almost as powerful as the Supreme Lord. Maitreya is addressed as a Bhagavan because he was spiritually far advanced. He was a personal friend of Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, a literary incarnation of the Lord. Maitreya was very pleased with the inquiries of Vidura because they were the inquiries of a bona fide, advanced devotee. Thus, Maitreya was encouraged to answer. When there are discourses on a transcendental topics between devotees of equal mentality, the question and answers are very fruitful and encouraging. So here again we are reminded by Sutta Goswami that who is Maitreya Rishi? Dvaipayana Sakhas Tva Evam. He is friend of Dvaipayana Vyas. And he is compared as a Lord himself. So it may confuse us because as already we have discussed, and even Maitreya himself has explained how Kardama Muni has explained about Bhagavan. Who is Bhagavan? The person who is full of opulences, of kirti, beauty, jnana, vairagya, bala, that person is known as a Bhagavan. Then why here Maitreya is considered or called as a Bhagavan? And that by Sutta Goswami, who is narrating about Srimad Bhagavatam. Maitreya is addressed as a Bhagavan because he was spiritually far advanced. And he was a personal friend of a Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, a literally incarnation of the Lord. That's why he is called as a Bhagavan. Not because he is possessing all the opulences. Sometimes they call Devarshinaras also as a Bhagavan. Sometimes they call Brahma also as a Bhagavan. That does not mean they possess all these opulences because they are very dear to the Lord, so they are always considered as same as the Lord. And here, one more point that Prabhupada gave more emphasis, that one is the inquiry. As this is one of the principal dealings between two Vaishnavas, Guhyam Akyati Pruchati. That's what Srila Rupa Goswami, he explains in his Nectar of Instruction. What should be inquired from devotees? That we can understand it from Bhagavatam. Here, Shaunaka Rishi, on behalf of all the great sages assembled in the Naimisharanya, he is asking to Sutta Goswami. And what he is asking about? He is asking about the transcendental qualities, pastimes of the Lord. What Sutta Goswami has heard from his spiritual master Shukadeva Goswami. So here it is clear, as Prabhupada says, when the inquiries of a bona fide advanced devotees are there, then the answers also you get authorized. And that is what Guhyam Akyati Prakshiti. Guhyam means you should inquire about the absolute truth, because that is the Guhya. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord, Rajavidya Rajya Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmam Susukham Kartam Apyam. This science of devotional service, this Adhyatma Shastra, is one of the Guhya Shastra, or one of the secrets. And that should be asked and discussed in between the devotees. And when the seeker of truth is bona fide and he is asking about the absolute truth, and the person who is answering that is authorized, then that combination is wonderful. And this whole Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but such a wonderful conversations between the devotees in different eras. Like this Srimad Bhagavatam was going on in the beginning of Kali Yuga, when Parikshit Maharaj asked, no, actually it was asked by the by the Shaunaka to the Sutta Goswami, and then he narrated the conversation between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadeva Maharaj. And Shukadeva Maharaj, in his turn, he has narrated the conversation between different personalities in different yugas about the wonderful pastimes of the Lord. So the authoritative answers for bona fide questions are always welcomed. And then in his turn, as he is explaining about what Maitreya answered to Vidura about this transcendental knowledge, he is explaining that. He says, Maitreya uvacha pitari prastithiranyam mato priya chikirashaya tasmin bindu sarer vatsye bhagavan kapilah kyala. Maitreya said, when Kardama left for the forest, Lord Kapila stayed on the strand of the Bindu Sarovar to please his mother Devahuti. Purport. In the absence of father, it is the duty of a grown-up son to take charge of his mother and serve her to the best of his ability, so that she will not feel separation from her husband. And it is the duty of the husband to leave home as soon as there is a grown son who takes charge of his wife and family affairs. That is the Vedic system of household life. One should not remain continually implicated in household affairs up to the time of death. He must leave family affairs, and the wife may be taken charge of by a grown son. Already we have discussed in detail about that, what is the responsibilities of a son and what are the responsibilities of a husband or a man who follows the Vedic system, and what he should do when he gets a grown-up son. Then further, Maitreya Rishi says, Tamasin karmanam tattvam margadarshanam swasvatam devavutyaha dhatu sansmarati vachaha. When Kapil, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahuti remembered the words of Brahma had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila as follows. So now the next conversation. So first of all, it was in between Shaunaka and Suta. Then it started from Maitreya to Vidura. And now the third conversation is going to start, that is in between Devahuti and Lord Kapila. Devahutiruvacha nirvinnanitaram bhumna asat indriyatarashanat ena sambhavyamanena prapanna andham tamaprabho. Translation. Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Here the word asada indriya trishnat is significant. Sorry? Darshan. Asat means impermanent, temporary, and indriya means senses. Thus, asana indriya tarshanat means from being agitated by the temporary manifest senses of the material body. We are evolving through different status of material bodily existence. Sometimes in a human body, sometimes in an animal body. And therefore, the engagements of our material senses are also changing. Anything which changes is called temporary or asat. We should know that beyond these temporary senses are our permanent senses, which are now covered by the material body. The permanent senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. The permanent senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting permanently. Devotional service, therefore, involves freeing these senses from this contamination. When the contamination is completely removed and the senses act in the purity of unalloyed Krishna consciousness, we have reached Sad Indriya or eternal sensory activities. Eternal sensory activities are called devotional service, whereas temporary sensory activities are called sense gratification. Unless one becomes tired of a material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental message from person like Kapila. Devotee expressed that she was tired. Now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Kapila. So now here, the qualification to hear about the Lord has explained. Who can hear about the Lord? In the nectar of instruction, the purport of the fifth verse, Prabhupada writes that who can make progress in Krishna consciousness? The person who is disinterested in material sense gratification and has a developed unattachment to the sense gratification or vairagya can hear about the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. Why is it so? The reason is explained by Mother Devavati here. Because if senses are engaged in material sense gratification, then what happens? It creates a disturbance which put us into the ignorance. So the person who realizes that that this material sense gratification is the cause of ignorance, then he tries to get rid of that ignorance, that contamination, and inquires about the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. He gets the favorable consciousness or favorable attitude to receive the knowledge about the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. And here in this purport, Prabhupada says, we should know that beyond temporary senses are our permanent senses. And these permanent senses are now covered by the material body. The permanent senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. And devotional service therefore involves freeing the senses from this contamination. And how to remove these contaminations of the senses? That we can learn from the episode of Ambarish Maharaj. How he has purified his senses by utilizing them in Krishna's service, by rendering devotional service. The process which has explained by Prahlad Maharaj, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsar Pita Bhakti Chenava Lakshana. If someone adopts this particular process by which we can purify our senses, as explained in the story of Ambarish Maharaj, Savai Mana Krishna Padar Vindayor. Engage your mind at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. And then rest of the senses that we should utilize for the service of the Lord. Then what happens? They get free from the contaminations of material enjoyment. And now, since her husband has left her home, and her son has taken the responsibility of taking care of her mother. And as Devavati remembered that what Brahma has asked her, then she approached Kapila Muni, who was sitting in a leisure, and she inquired about the absolute truth. And that inquiries we'll discuss from tomorrow. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
छोड़ के जा रहे हैं.